Bridgerton, the show that stole 16 hours of my life that I actually enjoyed. For those of you who don't know what Bridgerton is, it's an alternate historical drama series that follows the Bridgerton family as they search for love during the season in high London society. When my wife asked me to watch this show with her, I thought, fine, I'll watch it, but I'll probably play on my phone or not pay much attention. But boy was I wrong. I was fully engaged for 2 8-hour plus long seasons. Bridgerton has a peculiar way of keeping you entertained while not really providing much substance. It is, as I would call it, a mesmerizing mess. Before we get into it, obviously there will be spoilers for the show, so if you're worried about it being spoiled, watch the show first, then come back to this video. Okay, so first of all, I don't intend to talk about the plot of the show that much in this video. Instead, I'll be talking about themes and how the series is able to pull people in and not let them go until they've watched every single episode. But how exactly does the show keep people so captivated? The 3 main reasons audiences are so mesmerized by Bridgerton are character investment, tension, and high stakes. Each season introduces us to a new set of characters, with the Bridgertons, the Featheringtons, and the Duke of Hastings being introduced in the first season, and the Sharma family being introduced in the second season. We're also introduced to a mystery character named Lady Whistledown, who, with the help of her almost daily gossip pamphlet, has about as much social power as the Queen of England herself. The writers for the show do an excellent job of getting the audience invested in each of the characters' struggles and desires in a way that I haven't seen much before in television shows. It's because of this investment that we quickly start to care what happens to the Bridgertons, the Featheringtons, and the Sharmas, and the over-the-top drama that ensues between them. For example, we care a lot when Daphne finds out Simon can have children, but that he just doesn't want any. We care when Lady Whistledown's identity is almost revealed, and we care so much when we come to understand why Anthony and Kate just can't be together. To someone who hasn't gotten invested into these characters and their stories, these things would probably seem insignificant, but to those who have been pulled into the show's drama, you can't help but feel empathy for the characters. The show is also quite good at creating tension. By only giving the audience certain pieces of information and not the entire story, the tension begins to rise. In very tense situations, we don't know what's going to happen. We simply hope for the best outcome, but expect the worst. For example, when Anthony and Kate come close to kissing multiple times when we know they absolutely should not, part of us still hopes that they do because we know the love and passion they share for each other. These scenes in particular do a great job of building tension across episodes until they finally all come together. The underlying reason we get such tense scenes, though, is because the writers have already set such high stakes for the characters. Having the story set in a partially historical 1800s England, the stakes are very high for the young lords and ladies of London, especially during the season. It's well established that a gentleman and a lady must not ever be alone together without a chaperone, since they could be doing something that might taint the lady's honor. It's also established that all ladies must find a husband, or else they'll turn into an old spinster with no one to take care of them. Lastly, it's established that all gentlemen must find a wife so that they can do their duty in furthering their family's line by having a son. Because the scene is set with such stringent rules and expectations, the stakes are very high for all of our main characters. For example, anytime 2 characters of opposite sexes are in a room alone, you're always afraid someone will burst into the room and find them together right before demanding that they get married because they were alone together. Also, you understand just how important to the characters it is to find a spouse, not just for love, but for all the previously mentioned reasons. When even a single member of one of the high-class London families doesn't follow every single social rule, they're shunned from society. So the stakes are at their highest during the season, in which both seasons of Bridgerton take place. Now that we understand exactly why Bridgerton is so mesmerizing, let's dive into the mess of a show we received. And I don't necessarily mean mess in a bad way. Instead, I would liken it to a high production quality, much better version of a soap opera set in 1800s England. It actually has very good dialogue and writing, likely due to the fact that it's based on a book series of the same name, and many people know that series based on books with good writing can often have great results, until they run out of source material and start to crash and burn like Game of Thrones. Anyways, there were several things about the show that I didn't really like. First of all, the way the characters talk can be a little infuriating at times. Like whenever they say mamas and papas, I cannot stand it. Also, I was pretty let down when we found out that Lady Whistledown was not actually Julie Andrews, but Penelope. I mean, come on, I would have loved to see Mary Poppins in this show. Also, Penelope was probably one of my least favorite characters, so making her the secret writer that's been narrating the entire season was a huge letdown. One thing I actually really liked about the show though was its use of classical music covers of modern pop songs. The show's director and executive producer, Julia Robinson, said the music covers were inspired by the use of classic rock songs in the 2001 Heath Ledger film A Knight's Tale. Hearing classical covers of Thank You Next, Bad Guy, and even Wildest Dreams was a bit surreal, but I enjoyed it a lot. I think Bridgerton will likely become a guilty pleasure of mine in the future, since I'll probably have to rewatch it when season 3 comes out. To those who haven't already seen Bridgerton, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend watching it. If you have an extra 16 hours and it sounds interesting enough, then get ready for a completely unexpected roller coaster of emotions that you won't be able to turn away from. Although the show was a bit of a mess, I certainly think it will continue to grow in popularity, mesmerizing audiences around the world. Anyways, that's going to be all for today. If you like what you saw, maybe check out the video on your screen for some different content. I make videos on basically anything that interests me in the world of entertainment. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it truly does help me out. And thanks for watching Rocket Riley.